What up, YouTube? Hey, YouTubers, how's it going? It's Sal Brigman here from crowdcrux.com, and today I'm talking about 4 ways to get PR attention for your crowdfunding project. And the first way is how I've actually gotten a lot of PR attention, been on the Wallstreet Journal, been on the New York Times, been in a lot of other publications, and that is to appear as though you are an expert in a particular area and to position yourself as an expert. I use a tool called Haro, which stands for Help a Reporter Out. And basically you can go on Haro and you can go and position yourself as an expert, and journalists out there are looking for quotes, they're looking for experts on particular subjects, and you can get a media hit if you are willing to give a quote and share your expertise with a journalist. So go and check out Haro. It's a really cool, helpful resource, and there's a free and a paid version. You can also get media attention for your crowdfunding project by actively pitching reporters. And this would be for a feature story or a news story that is exclusively about your product or about your company. And really the key here, there are a few different keys, but I'd mention 2 of them. One is how you actually go about getting the attention of the journalist or the reporter. That's going to come down to directly emailing them, making sure that your story or the story that you're pitching is in line with other types of stories that they've written or the content that they write. And lastly, you need to have an engaging story. Something that's not just a news announcement, but a reason why this is credible. A reason why people would like this. And ideally, some kind of indication that people already are interested in your story. Maybe other publications have written about you, or there's some kind of blogger out there that's decided to write about you in the past. It shows people that if they choose to write about you, they're not taking a risk. Reporters do have to sometimes cover topics that they don't inherently want to, usually news related, but likely if you're trying to convince a reporter to cover you, you're not big enough where you're in the mainstream media, the mainstream news, and the journalist has to write about you. So you have to underline the reasons why it would be an awesome fit for their audience and why their audience would love to read a story like yours. A third way to get media attention is not to position yourself as the feature story or not to try and get a journalist to write exclusively about you, but to get in a roundup post. And what I mean by that is sometimes journalists will have a themed article or have a themed news post and will link to a lot of different tools, a lot of different companies, or a lot of different resources. So to give you an example here, if it's the holiday time, a very common post is maybe something like 25 ideas of things that you could give your spouse over the holidays, or 15 Valentine's Day gift ideas, or cool fun things to do this summer, or cool new fun summer products. If you position that kind of an article and you get in the article and are mentioned as one of many different companies that someone could check out, that is another way to get a media post. But you have to help that journalist have that moment of inspiration to decide to do that kind of an article and why their audience would really love that kind of an article. As you can see, a lot of PR is actually in line with sales. It's also a lot in line with marketing. It's really convincing people the merits of writing about you and why they should. Why should they pay attention to you? And remember, that a journalist is not just writing articles that they themselves are interested in. They have an audience that they have to serve. They have an audience that expects a certain type of content, that likes a certain type of content, and many news organizations work on a page view revenue model where they're selling advertisements or native ads, and they need eyeballs. So that being said, there is another media publication type out there that you can go after, and that is bloggers. I myself am a blogger. I get a lot of pitches for people to asking me to write about them or asking me to have them on their podcast. Bloggers are one other type of medium that you can approach to get a media hit. And the reason there is because pretty much every blogger I know has an audience. You know, CrowdCrux has over 10,000 email subscribers. There is an audience there of people who expect a certain type of content from me and also just from the website. Christine, who's a part-time writer for the site, they expect a certain type of content. So a blogger, if you identify bloggers in a certain niche or in a certain vertical or are covering types of products that you have the type of product that you're trying to launch on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you can insert yourself into that conversation. One of the big differences between bloggers and huge news organizations is that for the most part, bloggers decide what they want to write about. We don't have to write about certain stories just because they are trending. Not every blogger makes money just from page views or advertisements. They might also have their own products. So a blogger doesn't always have to cover a certain category. So it really does come down to personalizing your story for their blog, really understanding what their audience is looking for and how you can deliver that type of content for their audience. There are tools out there that you can use to find bloggers in your niche. There's InkyBee, there's Muckrack, there's a lot of different databases out there. Honestly, I would just spend a few hours on Google, on Twitter, looking up different bloggers in your industry, looking up people who cover that type of content, and really getting an understanding of their audience. Really getting an understanding of why they write about this topic and the types of stories that they like to cover. That's probably the best way to get your pitch to actually resonate with a blogger. And once you have their contact information, maybe you've pinged them on Twitter or hit them up on another social media platform, then you can send your pitch. But I would actually recommend engaging them in some other way first, maybe through their comment section or sending them an email just to let them know, like, I really enjoyed this one article that you wrote, starting a dialogue that way, rather than coming from a place of neediness that you need this from them. Will they give it to you? I always respond far more to my readers if they mention some other article I've written or ask me a question or something that's just not coming from a place like, I need you to do this, will you do it? That being said, those are a few ways that you can get media hits for your crowdfunding campaign. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up, and let me know in a comment what kind of Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or other type of crowdfunding campaign that you are running and trying to get media attention for. Again, my name is Sal Brigman. I run the blog crowdcrux.com, and I have a lot of other tips, a lot of other advice in my new ebook, The Crowdfunding Fast Track. I will link to a free chapter down below and also the place where you can purchase it if you want to learn how to actually successfully launch a crowdfunding campaign.